on this edition of Our Green World, a company that specializes in storing renewable energy to help create the smart grid of the future. Innovations in manufacturing that are creating an oil-free impact on the environment. Researchers show us the chemistry that makes our green living possible. But first, we take you to Vancouver, Canada, where the shipping industry has introduced a new design for the most energy-efficient ship on the seas. Ocean shipping is the lifeblood of our global economy, but with the greening of the industry, future shipping is likely to be dramatically different than what it is today, especially for the next generation of tankers.
Well, shipping overall is just such a huge industry with 50,000 ships and 1 million seafarers transporting 90% of the world's goods. It's a big global industry. And while it's one of the most efficient from a carbon emissions standpoint relative to other transportation methods such as rail or truck or air, as an industry we want to constantly evolve and have a smaller carbon footprint.
New environmental legislation is underway, and shipping prices continue to rise. Since 1999, fuel prices have risen by over 500% and are now the greatest cost a vessel will incur over its lifetime. This means innovation in shipping is crucial for the future.
Fuel costs are every ship owner's #1 cost. For example, if we were to order a new ship for $50 million, we would spend $250 million or more in fuel over its lifetime. And so it makes economic sense as well as environmental sense to try to save fuel.
In the last decade, for sure, we've seen much more focus on the environment, and I think we've also seen the rising cost of fuel. And if you put those two together and you take into account that we haven't seen any innovation, then it seemed like the perfect time to really start thinking about how you could do things differently.
As a world leader in shipping design, TK Corporation has taken upcoming emissions legislation and high fuel costs not only as a challenge, but as an opportunity to build the most energy-efficient ship possible, the One Spirit, an eco-design that reduces fuel consumption by 30%. While other shipping companies have developed eco-vessels by tweaking the design or doing simple add-ons like paint, TK took a far different approach by starting over and going right back to the drawing board on vessel fundamentals, here at its Innovation, Technology and Projects Unit in Vancouver.
So it made sense to go back to look at vessel design and alter the vessel design so that we were able to minimize the total life cost of the ship. So that's exactly what the team did. Back in 2006, the project started off, and I think it showed great foresight by the project team, because they were able to look ahead and say, well, we don't believe fuel price is going to come down. If anything, fuel price is going to increase. So it makes sense to start to look at this project now. And for a vessel design, it makes sense to go right back to where the rubber hits the road, so to speak. So we went back and we looked at the hull form, because that's where the ship interacts with the water first, is the shape of the hull. So if we were able to optimize the shape of the hull, then it gives us a very, very good platform to start to look at other innovations and other ways to reduce the fuel cost associated with the ship.
TK then partnered with a world-renowned team of technical experts to create the tanker's ultimate design, undergoing rigorous tests at its testing facility here at Chalmers University in Gothenburg, Sweden.
You can only take it so far through papertop and tabletop. And we went through some computer development work, and the computer development work indicated that we were heading in the right direction. But you can only go so far with that. What you need to do is put this into the real world. And to put it into the real world will cost a huge amount of money. But there's facilities such as this one behind us, where it allows you to build a scale model, put it in and start to see how it's reacting and see if you're getting the savings that the computer indicated you were going to get. And that's what we're doing here today.
Well, because you have a facility here that allows you to simulate the exact same conditions, whether that be a hurricane or calm conditions, that you're likely to experience at sea.
The end result is a tanker for the future called One Spirit. which focuses on 3 key design innovations, starting with the all-important hull of the ship, for which the team ran over 40,000 simulations to find the optimal design that reduces resistance for a given cargo capacity.
Well, on a conventional tanker, this portion here is actually quite full, and the wave that comes round can dip down quite a lot, which is then followed by a breaking wave. What we've done here is made this portion much more gentle, so the wave coming around the corner manages to come back up without breaking. And that contributes some 2 to 3% of the savings. At the bow, we have eliminated the bow spile by basically filling this portion in. Another advantage of this is that we have a finer bow entry, which means in a seaway we get less added resistance due to the waves coming towards the hull. Putting this all together, the savings in calm water are around about 11%, with additional savings in a seaway due to the reduced added resistance in waves.
By narrowing the beam of the ship and streamlining the bow and stern, the design team created a sleek new form that by itself resulted in over 10% fuel savings, while maintaining the cargo volume of the ship by increasing the hull's length and depth.
The key thing about cargo carriage is it all comes down to $1 per ton or $1 per barrel freight cost. And the quickest and single driver we can put in to reduce the $1 per barrel freight cost is to reduce the cost of the bunkers. And so the fact that this ship is more environmentally efficient, significantly more environmentally efficient, it burns less fuel, has a direct impact on the landed cost of the cargo.
The second innovation was adding a larger, more powerful G-type engine to the tanker, with increased capacity to slow the combustion process in order to recover more energy from fuel.
So what we're willing to do is we're willing to pay more money for a bigger engine, but that allows us to derate the engine, so we're minimizing the fuel consumption.
So the energy savings associated with this are sufficient to power 2,000 homes or to power 700 cars every day on the road. And if you expand that up into a fleet the size of TK, it's the equivalent of 42,000 cars being taken off the road every day.
The bigger engine and slower shaft speed resulted in a third important innovation, being able to increase the diameter of the propeller and reduce the number of blades from 4 to 3 to more efficiently move more water with each rotation.
The basic thing we wanted to do was to have as large a propeller as possible, because just by the simple laws of physics, the larger the propeller, the more effective the propulsion. So altogether, we have these 3 factors: the improved hull resistance, the improved propeller efficiency, and the improved engine efficiency, that have fitted together into what I would call a fantastically positive design spiral.
This team and these 3 design advancements have all come together to create One Spirit, TK's newest green tanker, and the most efficient vessel in the shipping industry, with over 30% fuel savings.
This project is Hydrodynamicist's dream to be approached to do a blank sheet paper design study, and we've come up with what we feel is a world-beating solution.
Shipping is already the most efficient form of transportation out there. And what this ship does is it takes that and it improves it. It's another 30% saving over what is already the most efficient form of transport in existence.
And that's important to One Spirit customers like TK Tankers, with its fleet of vessels that transport crude oil around the world.
Our goal is to provide energy to the world by being a leading provider in marine transportation. And this ship that can save 30% in fuel will benefit our customers, our shareholders, and the environment. And so it makes just good business sense.
One Spirit may be the only green vessel of its kind, but it represents the next generation of tankers. Next, renewable energy may be the future for powering our green world, but extreme power relies on being able to store it. Renewable resources like wind and solar may be the symbols of green energy today, but harnessing and storing that energy is the key to powering our green world, and ultimately creating the smart grid of the future.
Storing wind or solar-generated power is very important because both of those resources are intermittent. The sun shines through a few hours of the day, the wind blows intermittently, sometimes it doesn't blow at all. And so the use of electricity requires a reliable source of electricity or power. And the combination of having wind and solar generation allows you to have a clean, relatively inexpensive source of electricity. In combination with energy storage allows you to provide reliability, so the electricity is there whether the wind's blowing or the sun is shining.
The future of powering our cities and businesses resides in the ability to provide large-scale energy storage and power management. It means extreme power, which is the very name of the industry leader in the energy storage market. Here at its headquarters in Austin, Texas, and its Keil Operations Center, the business of designing and integrating power management for communities and providing solutions for massive energy storage is the round-the-clock mission of Extreme Power's team of engineers and technicians.
What sets apart Extreme Power is our ability to take software and engineering integration skills to use multiple energy storage chemistries, combine them with power electronics to provide grid-scale, multi-megawatt capabilities to store electricity and deliver it on demand, real time to the grid.
The power capability of this DC block is pretty incredible. I mean, really we're limited by the size of our front-end converter. But a general setup like this, would be enough to power 500 homes.
Since its beginning in 2004, Extreme Power has been installing power onto the grid across multiple projects around the country, including their pilot project in the Hawaiian Islands that supported the energy output of a 30-megawatt wind farm.
The use of wind and solar in Hawaii allows them to use a renewable, clean source of energy, but it's intermittent. And what we do is store electricity from either wind or solar-generated sites so that we can smooth and firm, meaning provide electricity when it's needed, whether the sun's shining or whether the wind's blowing.
For remote islands, being that their grids are unstable, having an energy storage system that Extreme Power supplies is pretty important because it gives them a very stable power source.
Extreme Power's unique energy storage system, known as the Dynamic Power Resource, has now spread across a dozen more projects, enabling clean energy resources to deliver more power onto the grid reliably and efficiently. It's through Extreme Power's complete integration and system controls expertise that each project is able to overcome grid challenges, whether they're on remote islands or in congested load centers of a city. Here at its Operations Center in Keil, Texas, all of Extreme Power's field installations are under microsecond control and analyzed around the clock.
The Operations Control Center here is very critical. A lot of the applications that we're going into are dealing with utilities, the power grid, which as we know has a very high level of reliability required. So we're able to offer that sort of utility grade reliability that's expected, not only through proper design of our systems, but having a 24/7 monitoring center here that can respond very, very quickly to any sort of anomalies or any sort of event that we see anywhere at one of our sites.
This is also where any grid challenge or problem can be simulated in software, so it can be tested with actual hardware before ever going to the field.
Most of our sites have demands for very high levels of reliability, utility grade sort of assets we're providing. So we're able to provide this level of reliability that's expected by having this room constantly manned, and we're constantly watching our sites for any sort of events or disturbances that may occur.
Energy storage has the potential to become a $125 billion market on a global basis, and Extreme Power hopes to become the backbone of the 21st century grid.
Extreme Power wants to provide clean energy on demand anywhere in the world. And we have projects on the drawing board now for China, Japan, Korea, Thailand, Malaysia. So wherever you see the sun shine and the wind blow or you need grid support, these are areas where Extreme Power's Dynamic Power Resource can give you this real-time control to provide a reliable source of electricity from renewable generation sites that are powered by wind and solar.
Storing clean, renewable energy will be the future for powering our green world. thanks to the innovative technology of Extreme Power. Next up, from wind turbines to laundry detergent, it's high-performance chemistry that is truly powering our green world. Ultimately, it's the energy of the sun that produces our renewable resources to power our green economy. But today, man's innovation is aimed at sustainability in using these resources in all facets of our lives. This is especially true at Huntsman, one of the world's largest chemical companies, which has been building a sustainable future through chemical research for more than 40 years. Producing over 33 billion pounds of products for a multitude of global businesses, Huntsman has a clear vision of its journey ahead to enrich lives through innovation.
It's extremely exciting. I mean, if you take just a look at all the different projects that we have in the development that are either related to sustainability or to green chemistry.
Well, we see a better world being created by our innovations, which help to protect the environment. We allocate over $150 million annually and dedicate over 1,000 scientists and engineers at R&D facilities around the world to drive innovation.
Huntsman's Performance Products Division is working hard to help create a green economy. One of the keys to a green economy is the ability to manage the life cycle of CO2, since it's a product of energy usage and a source of carbon for renewable resources. Here at the Huntsman Advanced Technology Center in Houston, Texas, scientists are looking for methods to actually capture and store carbon for use in other applications to power our green economy.
To capture carbon in the form of carbon dioxide, you actually would take for example, flue gas, which is an exhaust stream coming off of a power plant, and you would take a chemical that we manufacture, you put them in contact with each other, and it actually absorbs the CO2. Then you pass it to another piece of equipment where you heat it and it releases the CO2. Now you have a pure CO2 stream that you can capture and compress. Once it's compressed, you can use it for feedstock for another chemical, or you can inject it underground and do something like enhanced oil recovery. Or you could simply store it into a deep geologic formation.
When CO2 is used for enhanced oil recovery, it's estimated that it can help recover up to 1/3 more of the oil in the ground. In a typical oil reservoir, less than 1/3 of the original oil in place is recovered. But producers have discovered that pumping high-pressure CO2 into the well will thin the oil so that it can more easily flow to the producing wells.
We actually add surfactants to carbon dioxide that is injected into an oil well. And what happens then is that surfactant actually foams, and it helps produce a sweeping effect of the oil, and that allows more oil to be recovered out of an existing oil reservoir.
Through its research, Huntsman has also developed a family of molecules called cyclic carbonates that are made from CO2. In addition to their sustainability impact of sequestering CO2, these molecules are also essential components in the all-important lithium-ion batteries that are key enabling solutions to our energy needs, both in transportation as well as renewable energy.
If you break open one of these lithium-ion batteries and take a look at it, it's really chemistry that makes these things work. And part of the chemistry that's involved that's critical for the proper operation of a battery is getting the lithium to migrate from one electrode to the other electrode. And the way that that's done is actually with a solvent, an electrolyte solvent system, of which we supply a critical component of that solvent that enables that lithium to migrate back and forth across the battery.
Lithium-ion batteries also provide a safe and efficient means of storing renewable energy. So this renewable source can be captured, stored, and supplied to the grid whenever it's needed.
Well, the Green Energy blog has written that advanced energy storage, economical energy storage, is the most disruptive thing to hit the grid in the last 100 years. The US DOE, Department of Energy, has written that advanced energy storage will be a $175 billion impact on the United States over the next 10 years.
Chemical research is also underway at Huntsman to help in the field of wind energy. Wind is a sustainable and clean source of energy that does not release emissions and does not require water for cooling. While the industry is working to develop larger wind turbines capable of producing more energy, Huntsman is working with blade manufacturers to develop new curatives to create longer, stronger wind blades.
The blades on a wind turbine are routinely manufactured by infusing glass fibers with a resin such as an epoxy. Here at Huntsman, we pioneered the development and production of the key materials that help the epoxy resins to cure and to form a very light but also a very strong structure. And this technology is what has enabled the blade producers to make ever larger, bigger, stronger blades to place on turbines. And it's also the technology that is being used by the aerospace industry to make airplanes lighter.
Finally, as a global manufacturer of surfactants, Huntsman is producing molecules from renewable resources that will increase the effectiveness of pesticides at the smallest possible doses for crop protection, enabling more efficient and sustainable farming, as well as using biomass to make green and sustainable products in the detergent and cleaning markets.
You won't see a Huntsman brand laundry detergent on the market, but we make ingredients that go into virtually all of these products. People like me spend their whole life studying the behavior of the ingredients that go into these to get the best cleaning efficacy at the lowest price. I would say that the detergent industry is at the forefront of this green movement that's going on. It's a big initiative for Huntsman to look at renewable feedstocks that are locally grown and don't impact the food chain for human beings.
I would say that somebody would be hard-pressed to go through more than 30 minutes of their life and not have something that Huntsman has some direct or indirect impact.
It's just very exciting to see us be able to develop these chemistries that contribute to the green economy, that contribute to sustainability, and it's just part of our vision as a company to build a better world.
It's impossible to know how much oil and gas exist or what will happen with climate change. However, by developing renewable products today, Huntsman is paving the way for a sustainable future. Finally, an American company that has made energy efficiency its #1 priority, and it's softening the carbon footprint of manufacturing today.
Oil prices are heading up and up. We all know it when we fill our cars. But just think about all the other ways we use oil that isn't readily apparent. Gardner Denver is thinking about that a lot. And they also are thinking about ways to reduce the impact of machinery on the environment. The result of their innovation is a host of new products that are creating a lot of stir in the manufacturing industry.
You can't believe how many places air compressors are used. You don't see them all the time.
Giant machines help improve our lives every day. From keeping our drinking water clean and safe to use in food factories and automobile plants. It might not look like anything too unique from the outset, but it is changing the way manufacturing plants are operated worldwide. First, picture a regular motor that has gears and traditional bearings that move together in order to generate power. To keep those parts moving easily, you need a supply of oil for lubrication. Production facilities might spend millions of dollars a year on oil, while at the same time polluting the environment. So imagine now what a gearless motor would do. No gears, no oil. Oil-free also means that the air is free of contaminants. That, in essence, is the Quantuma.
The Quantuma is an air compressor designed around a high-speed motor and active magnetic bearings. This design essentially eliminates the requirement or need for gearing, traditional bearings, so as a result there's no need for any oil in the package whatsoever. This is obviously a cost savings to the customer and is good for the environment.
The Quantuma motor is made up of a single moving part and has no mechanical contact, so there is no wear and tear. The Quantuma also automatically senses the compressed air needs of its location at any time and adjusts its output accordingly. To date, this two-stage centrifugal compressor offers the lowest possible energy use and associated carbon impact over the product life. In fact, customers are realizing energy savings of 25% and more. One prominent place the Quantuma is used today is at the tallest fountain in the world, the magnificent Dubai Fountain. 4 Quantuma units and several other Compair compressors propel the water 50 stories into the air. And when Daimler-Benz installed the Quantuma in a plant, the energy savings were 5% higher than originally forecast. The Quantuma also is used to help manufacture the prestigious Jaguar brand automobile.
We have many customers that count on us to help them reduce their carbon footprint, increase efficiency, and improve their energy savings. Since 80% or more of the total life cycle cost of operating an air compressor is energy, energy efficiency is our #1 priority.
The Quantuma is so innovative, it won the prestigious 2008 Winner of Product of the Year from Plant Engineering magazine. But Gardner Denver isn't stopping there. Their division called Welch ILMVAC has created a new industrial vacuum that is all green. Its main use is for chemical researchers who need to remove solvents with as little heat as possible during the synthesizing of new molecules.
This technology is called EcoFlex. It is the most sophisticated and environmentally friendly laboratory vacuum system on the market. The laboratory vacuum system was developed to minimize the impact on the environment.
You can't talk about green innovation in processing without saluting the Hoffman Revolution. This new line of high-speed centrifugal blowers was named Breakthrough Product of the Year for 2010 by Processing Magazine. The Hoffman Revolution is all-American designed and made, and it delivers a whopping 45% energy savings.
Well, the Revolution doesn't lose efficiency across changing demands like traditional blowers. Our performance curve actually moves with those changing demands and maintains the highest efficiency possible. We're able to do this by combining advanced technologies such as a permanent magnet motor, which are among the highest efficient motors manufactured today. We complement that with a high-efficient speed controller, and we wrap that around an active magnetic smart bearing that actually communicates the precision of the speed at tens of thousands of RPMs, the actual location of the impeller and shaft relationship.
We're all working together for a sustainable future. Join us next time on Our Green World. Thanks for watching.